Hi, I'm Julie Johnson with Firebox Training. Today I'm going to show you how to create view objects that have transient attributes. Transient attributes are simply attributes that are read-only. They're not persisted to the database, but they can be really useful in that you can get useful information maybe from joins on other tables. For example, if we have two tables, maybe an employees table and a departments table. Perhaps the employees table has a field called department ID. Okay, so how do we get the department name? Well, you could perform a join on the two, but the actual view object by default would only have the department ID. We can include a transient attribute in the view object to represent the department name. You could even go up the chain. For example, if you have a table called locations and you have a join between the locations and department, you could use those view links to include the location information in the employees table through the departments table. The first thing we want to do is create our application module. So what I'm going to do, we're going to be working with our HR schema, which already comes bundled with the Oracle database. Okay, so I'm going to create a new, and we're going to say business components from tables, and my connection information is right here. I'll just call this HRCon. The username is HR and the password is HR, and I happen to be running on an Oracle database whose service name is ORCL. Okay, so there's my connection, and I'm going to include countries, departments, locations, regions, and employees. Bring all those over there. Hit Next. I'm not going to bother with any read-only view objects right now. We'll just keep this as it is. Make sure we add it to the application module, and then we go ahead and hit Finish. Now what I'm going to do in my application module is make a cascading effect here. Okay, so what we need to do is move some of these over that we don't need. At the very top of my chain I have regions and the child is countries. Let's get rid of these other guys right here. Okay, so the child of countries, what I need to do is find the root of countries here, find the child there, and go like that. See how we have a cascading effect? Now I need to find the root locations. That has a child called departments. And then lastly we have our departments. Bring over the child. So see this cascading effect? Let's go ahead and save it, and we can now test our application module. Okay, now let's go ahead and run our application module. So right here we right click, hit run, and wait for it to pop open here. And now move it over so you can see the whole thing. Here at the top is our regions. You'll see we have 4 different regions here, and if you want to see the parent-child relationship, simply click on the view link. Okay, so let's go to the Americas. Now let's hone in on the United States, and now click on the next view link to see the next level of parent-children. Okay, so here we have, let's hone in on Seattle. Okay, double click on that, and in Seattle, here we have purchasing. Let's go ahead and double click on here, and for purchasing we have all these different people down here. So there is a cascading effect. Okay, so now that we know our application module is working properly, let's do this. I'm going to add a transient attribute for our employee. A transient attribute, remember, is just an attribute that's read-only. So we're going to hone in on, where is our view? Here are our different views. Here's my employees view. And let's do this. Move this over a little bit. And I'm going to add an attribute called department name. Now before I add a department name, I need to understand how the employees and departments are linked together. So our view links, which are right here, I need to find my department. So here's the employee department link, and let's take a look at the relationship here. This is dealing with an association, which is on the entity object level, and this is the important part. We look at our accessors. Accessors just tell us how do we get to the employees from the departments and vice versa. So it looks like from the departments, if we want to access the employees, we use the accessor name of employees view. It looks like it's not bidirectional yet. In other words, we can't access the departments from the employees. So let's do this. If you check that, now it's accessible. So the accessor name is departments view 1. I'll just do a Control-C to save that in my clipboard. And now let's go to our employees view and create a new attribute called department name. Okay, so now that we have that department name, we need to define it. Okay, all we need to pay attention to right now is the default value. Instead of specifying a literal, let's use what we call a Groovy expression. So Groovy is just a scripting language that's used here and there within Oracle ADF to easily access different attributes and perform validation and such. Okay, so remember our accessor name is departments view 1, and now I use dot notation, and I can access any of the department's attributes. So the department view has an attribute called department name. Now that we have that, let's save it. Let's right-click on our application module and then test it. Here it is. Let's go to our regions. Let's scroll over here and let's see what we've got. Check this out. We have our department name, and it is correct. It says accounting. If we take the master records, let's go scroll through here until we find, there we go. Here we have benefits, and here's the department name, benefits. That example was using Groovy with a simple attribute. What if we want to use aggregate functions to find maybe the min, max, count, and so on? For example, what if we want to have an employee count attribute for the department, which tells us how many employees are in that department? Well, the way we do that is let me kill this off right here. We need to hone in again on our accessors. So the relationship between our departments and employees is right here. And let's go to our accessor name, and yes, the way we get to our employees view is through here. Now for each department, we can have 0 or more employees. So whenever you have a collection like that, you can use those aggregate functions, and I'm going to show you one of them right now. So once again, I'm just going to Control-C on there to save it on my clipboard. And now we're going to go to our departments view right here. And we're going to add a new attribute. We'll call this empcount. Once again, let's scroll down. Let's make this a Groovy expression. And I'll say employees view dot count. Now in parentheses, we need to specify the attribute that we're counting. For example, if we want to find all the employees in that department, well, if we specify the primary key, then we know we get all of them in that department. So make sure that you put this inside of quotes, otherwise it will not work. Okay? The other thing you need to make sure of is that you specify that it's an expression and not a literal. I'm going to save this all, and now let's give it a whirl. Okay, here we have it. Let's go to our regions and drill down. And let's take a look at our departments. And you'll see here that we have our empcount. In Department 30, we have 6 employees. Let's keep scrolling through here. Looks like we have 3 employees in executive and so on. Well, I hope you got a lot from this video tutorial. Please visit our website at www.fireboxtraining.com.